So it looks like we're going to be a small group, but I appreciate everyone for coming. And as you saw, we're going to be talking about building a strong social media profile. So to start off, I figured I would introduce myself. Most of you know me, but in case you don't, I work at BSU and work in university news. My main responsibilities at the university as a digital content specialist are to improve and grow, spot trends in the, as you know, social media is ever changing in the digital world, and work across functions to plan the content strategy with different departments and offices. So what do I want you guys to get out of this session today? I want you to understand, I know everyone's at different levels as far as beginners, intermediate, advanced, so I want you to know how to set up your accounts for social media, provide some insight on security tips for social media, and emphasize the importance of a strong profile picture and a strong bio. So before we start, I wanted you to take a look at a video that I thought was really useful to show where we are in 2014 with social media. So I'm going to play this. It's about 4 minutes. To ask before we dive in, I want it to be more conversational, and if you have any questions today, feel free to ask as we're going through. But how many people are on Facebook? Raise your hand. Okay, so pretty much everyone. How many people are on Twitter? Okay, a couple people. So as far as what I want you to get out of this today is to know that besides all the, you'll hear a lot in social media about different privacy issues, different technical issues that are constantly changing. So at the core of it, it's about conversation, and that's what you should be focusing on when you're thinking about social media. And sometimes it can seem overwhelming, but taking all of that aside, all the technical, it's just about another way to communicate. Does everyone here text? Have you started to do that? So, like texting, that's something that has changed the way we used to call, now we text. So with social media, that's just another form of communication, like I said. So to dive into setting up your account, I want you guys to think about 2 different things. One, what are you trying to do with your account? And who are you trying to reach? So on Facebook, that is one platform that is a little bit more personal, that you have a friends list who you're communicating with. On Twitter, it's more of a broad audience because you potentially reach any number of people on Twitter. So it depends what you want to get out of the platform first and foremost. And then who you're trying to reach is, again, who are you trying to contact? Friends? Are you trying to contact a wider audience to get the word out about a topic? So that's the 2 things to think about when you're setting up your account. And I wanted to use this description. I thought it was kind of fun, and really gets to, it breaks down the different channels really easily. So with Facebook, you would say, I like coffee. With Twitter, I'm drinking #coffee. With Google Plus, you would say where you work. So for instance, I'm a Google employee who drinks coffee. LinkedIn, I'm good at drinking coffee. That's for the skill. Pinterest, here's a collection of pictures and recipes of coffee drinks, because that's more based on photos, clicking and then reading more about the topic. YouTube, watch me as I drink coffee. Foursquare, which is location-based. Here's where I drink coffee. I come here a lot, I'm the mayor. And Instagram, here's a vintage photo of me drinking coffee. So that really breaks down what the different channels are for. Of course, there are a lot more channels that are just on this list, but that gives you an idea of some of them. Also, I would say fill out your social media profiles 100%. That way, it's really easy for people to find you. It also gives you more credibility when people are searching for you, to say that you really understand the technology and what you have there is accurately representing yourself. And to that point, always be keyword specific when you're talking about the different, when you're building your profile on social media. So if you are, for instance, in IT, then you would want to make sure you explain that and think of the different words that people might be searching when they're looking for your profile. if you want to mention that.
Is that in your About Me section, or where would that be?
Depending on what platform it's on. So if you're on Twitter and you want to say, I'm an IT at Bridgewater State, then that would be in the profile description there. If you wanted to put that in LinkedIn, you could put that as your current job. So it all depends on what the platform is, but there's always a way to fit that in to make it really keyword specific. And I would also say something that you should do early on if you're just getting into using social media is to think about claiming your usernames across all the different channels. So if you know that right now you just have a Facebook account, but eventually you're going to want to be on Twitter, or you're going to want to be on another channel, what you should do is think about that, because someone can easily take that username, and then if you don't have access to it, you're going to have to come up with something else. So for purposes of keeping it really consistent, I would say if you know that you're going to be on one channel, claim your account so you have it that you can use later on. And also think about your profile photos, your cover photos, any kind of photos that are going to be representing you on the channel. And sometimes I know when people are setting up accounts, they say, well, I can't keep track, there's so many photos, how do I know what size I need to have? So if you just go on Google and you do a simple search for an image size cheat sheet, you'll be able to find what your photo size should be for LinkedIn, what it should be for Twitter. So keep that in mind, because that's what I do, because those sizes always change a little bit from year to year. So if you just type in 2014 image size cheat sheet, that'll help. Now, I wanted to show an example of a complete profile that I thought, and of course this is a celebrity one, but I thought it was a good example on, for instance, Ellen DeGeneres. I'm sure you all heard that she broke Twitter with the Oscars. So I thought this one was relevant. She talks about how she's a comedian, a talk show host, and then she has some other funny comments in there. But she keeps it real with her tweets, and she also has a picture of herself. Like I said, she describes what she does on Twitter. And then if we look at her Facebook page, we see that she's using a similar image. So she's easily, if you're searching for her, you can find her across the different channels. And again, she has her logo, so you know that you're looking at the right person. And she has her contact info on her About Me section. So you can see that she's on Instagram. You can find her Twitter account, which is really good. So I would say if you're on one channel like Facebook, make sure you're always providing links to if you want people to access your Instagram, Twitter account. So always keep that in mind, that you can link the accounts together so people can find you. And another question that I often am asked is, should I use my real name or should I use my fake name on social media? So it depends, again, what you want to do with the technology and what you want to do on social media. I would say if it's, you want to start building your personal brand for your career, for finding a job, or you're working in an industry that you know people are going to be searching for you. For instance, if you were an art major and you were building your photography portfolio, you would want people to find you on Instagram, to find you on Twitter. So I would say in that case, start thinking about using your real name for the brand. That said, though, with your with an alias name, if you want to have a separate online persona that you know that you go on Twitter and you just like to rant, you like to complain, or you don't want anyone to find you, you want to be secure for that reason, or maybe you're just starting off and you're exploring the technology, then I would say use an online persona until you get a little bit more comfortable with that and you want people to find you, because what you do put out can be, it's archived, it's cached for forever. So be really aware of that and know that when you're choosing. And like I said, there's pros and cons to both approaches. So when you're using your real name, like I said, people can find you. It helps build your brand credibility. If you use your alias name, it is more private and you're not going to have as many people.
Well, you really have to think of your name as a brand.
Right.
When you do that, because I do that.
Yeah.
I have the two separates, because I have my own business, and then I have my work here. And neither one meet. I have few melt over between the two.
And you found that works?
That works very well. It works very well. As long as you keep them separated, don't try to befriend somebody that's on the other so that you keep yourself exceptionally professional underneath your, well, I do it underneath my real name. Everything underneath my real name is exceptionally professional. It's all about where I work, who I contact, all the students, everything else. Where my business is completely different name. As a matter of fact, most of my clients don't even realize that my name is not my name on that site. They know who I am, my close friends know who my real name is, but my business people know me as such, and that's it.
Yeah, so that's
And it keeps it very nice. It's very nice compartmentalized.
Yeah, so if you want to really keep what you're doing for business or what you're doing, even if you're a student and it's not for business, but you're using social media you don't want anyone to find you, then I would say keep it private and just.
Yeah, you don't want friends and family saying, "Oh, it was such a great party last night,"
right,
and showing people drinking. It's just not cool to have that. I've been defriended family members that go, "Oh, no, sorry, not this site. Here, go to this one." I will not have them on my site because I don't want the other people interfering with my personal life. I have a personal and a professional persona, and that's it. No shall between me.
Yeah, so it's ultimately up to your discretion what you want to do, but know that you can use a fake persona if you so choose with a pseudonym, and the real name should really be when you're branding and maybe you want to build that up for your career.
Yes, it looks very nice on this.
And some tips for staying secure. Like I said, the internet never forgets. So you have to realize this early on because anything that you're going to be sharing can be archived, on the Google search engines. If you search your name, it's going to come up. And I would also say safeguard sensitive information when posting. A lot of times, for instance, when I'm running the university's accounts, I'll see students who recently were accepted to Bridgewater State, and they will share a photo of their acceptance letter, and what they forget sometimes is on their acceptance letter it has their address and contact information, and that's something that I think they're so excited in the moment that they share it, but they don't think someone could easily find my address on here. So when you're sharing photos, also keep that in mind. If you have any kind of credit card information, address information, just keep that, or crop it out just so that no one can see that. That'll really make a difference, and you don't want to have information there that could be someone could take a screenshot of, that could be saved forever. Also, be aware of spam con artists on social networks. If you're on Twitter, you'll probably notice that every once in a while you'll get direct messages. This could happen on any account from people who are trying to spam or trying to get you to buy something. So just be aware of that, and you'll easily, for the most part, be able to tell. They might have a really short link that doesn't go anywhere. That
Inappropriate pictures.
Inappropriate picture, yeah. So usually you can tell, but if it looks suspicious, just avoid clicking to open it.
They just came on 4 months ago.
Yeah. So any of those factors, just avoid to stay safe online. Also, they have login verifications for different accounts. I'm sure you've seen this with Facebook. So if you log into Facebook, you can set up so that it goes to your cell phone and will send you a text if you log in from somewhere other than, like if you always go on your laptop on Facebook, if you log in from a school computer, it'll tell you you've logged in, just so you know. If something looks suspicious and you know you didn't log in there, then that's a great way to help. And they have that available on Twitter too, the login verifications. And also be selective who you're adding as a friend, not just on Facebook, but if you're on LinkedIn, any of those channels, you'll usually, it might seem harmless if you just say, okay, I'm just going to accept this person. But in the long run, there's a lot of fake accounts out there that are used, so just try to avoid that if you can. Now, I wanted to show some examples, like Lisa was talking about, social scams. So you might have seen this one. I've seen this a lot. Oh my God, is this true? What they wrote about you in their Twitter blog, and then you'll see this kind of strange link. Request for permission. There's a lot of third-party apps out there that are going to ask for your permission, and some of them are safe, but do your research and know which ones have been around for a while and are well established, because there are some out there that just want to access your information and want to do that for a purpose that's not going to benefit you. And again, what we talked about, the strange kind of images, if you see these that look like they're kind of like spam, and they say something about like someone spreading rumors about you, that's just one example, just don't click it. in the long run. It'll save you a lot of hassle.
Which kind of get them off is a real pain.
What's that?
Sometimes getting them off can be a real pain.
Yeah, so to avoid having to go and block people, just ignore it. How to maintain your security. So now that you know about the tips, how do you keep security safe? So sign in and out of your accounts. It's really easy if you're on your laptop or you're on a computer here to just stay logged in every time you're on the computer. But if you forget to log out one day or for any number of reasons, someone could access your account. So I would say just if you're not on your own computer, just try to log out. Also, I would say use a password on your devices, since most people can access the different apps on there. It's really better just to have a password so you know that you're the only one logging in on the device. Put a Google alert on your name. This is one tip that I found to be really helpful, so you know if anything's published about you or anything strange comes up, that you'll be able to be alerted right away, and then you can catch it early on. So, specifically, there's a lot of different privacy settings out there. One that has changed over the last couple of years is the tagging policies. So if you find that your friends or anyone really could tag you in a photo or could tag you in a status, check what your privacy settings are, because you can approve to have it let you know when someone's going to tag you. So that way you don't have information that's going out on your pages without you knowing about it and looking at it. And for Foursquare, another piece of advice that I would give is to actually check in when you're leaving the location, because you probably don't always want everyone knowing where you are all the time. So if you know that you're going out of town, I would say check in when you're leaving. So that's to your discretion, but that's just my piece of advice. And now I want to talk a little bit about your social bio. So when we're talking about biographies and different profiles, you don't have to be really dry. You can have fun with it. You can be creative with your profiles, but ultimately you should be precise in what you're putting up. So if you want to, like I showed you Ellen DeGeneres' profile, she talked about how she's a comedian and talk show host, and then I think she had something else that was kind of funny. So be creative in how you come up with it. You have, for instance, on Facebook, you have a certain number of characters, so play with that and come up with something that's fun that people will want to check out your profile. And I would say if you have a website or you have somewhere else, like I mentioned earlier, that you want to direct people, put your URL there so people can find you. Basic spelling, this is something that I think sometimes is forgotten, and again, for the credibility purpose, if you want to show that you're a world-renowned photographer, don't spell world-renowned wrong or anything like that, and people will be able to really take you seriously on these channels. And like I said, it's a conversation, so it's not all about you. If you're a writer, don't always post out, buy my book. Have a conversation with people who are interested in similar topics, because no one's going to want to check out your channel if you're just shamelessly self-promoting all the time. And take the full picture of who you are on the different channels. So with your bio, with your photos, you'll be able to do this, and people will want to interact with you. Now, best practices for bio descriptions. I found this chart that I think was pretty helpful. So on Twitter, for your bio, you have 160 characters, and you can use even your background, which a lot of people don't realize, for contact information. So if you wanted to, you could create a background that links to your different accounts, or is an image that really represents who you are and gives people a clear picture. For Facebook, you have different description sections that you can add, different numbers of characters. And again, you could add a link to your website. Google+, you can add links to your blog, other social media channels, and LinkedIn. There's a headline where people can easily find what you're looking to do to get a new job. You're a current student who's going to be graduating soon. Whatever you want to say in there, there's different keywords again for people to find you. Now, as far as profile pictures go, these are some of my tips that I found to work really well. So high quality photo, that represents you. Sometimes I'll see photos that are really blurry, it's hard to make out, or people will have photos of like a car or any number of things. And that really doesn't represent you, and it's not going to give people a clear picture of who you're trying to be on those channels when you're trying to represent yourself. Be consistent across all your channels, like I showed you with the example one. The colors match, Ed will talk about this tomorrow in his session on personal branding, but you want to be consistent across the different channels, and if people search you on Facebook or they search you on Twitter or LinkedIn, you have a photo that is easily, they can recognize that it's you, and then also, like I said, make it easy for users to find. Posture speaks volumes about who you are, so have eye contact in your photos if you can. Have good posture, because that's going to, especially if you're doing a LinkedIn profile where you're trying to either land an internship, land a job. If people are searching for you and they see your photo and you're hunched over, that's not going to leave a great example about who you are, and might even deter you from a potential employer from giving you an interview. So keep that in mind, and then keep the photo's background simple. You don't want to have so much going on that no one can recognize who you are and they can't find you. And being consistent in profile pictures, like I talked about. So it all starts with the consistency, showing your professionalism, maintaining your personal brand, the personality of it, separating you from who competitors might be. If there's a photographer, someone who wants to land a job in photography, and someone has a background on Twitter that really represents a photo that they've taken, and they have a really high quality photo of themselves on Twitter, and they have a high quality photo on LinkedIn, and then you look at someone else who also wants to be a photographer, and they have a blurry, pixelated image, they don't have a background, they have no design element to any of their profiles, then probably you're going to think right off the bat that someone who has a higher quality photo has a little bit more interest in the industry, that they've taken the time to develop their profile. So keep that in mind. Also, for brand recall purposes, people are going to be able to, if they find you on one channel and they see similar colors on another channel, or they see a similar photo, they're going to instantly know that's you and they'll want to connect with you, so that'll help. And it just eliminates confusion. And does anyone have any questions about those? I know we're running a little bit ahead of schedule. I have one quick video to show you at the end, but any questions about creating profiles, questions about how to be consistent with photos? Yes?
One thing that confuses me is I know it asks for birth dates and things like that, and a lot of people, that not so much caring who knows how old you are, but those are pieces of information that are used sometimes for privacy codes and things like that. What do you recommend with that type of thing?
As far as entering your birth date on the different channel?
Yeah, a lot of that type of information, that sometimes that's how banks maybe recognize you, or whatever, much more serious situations, so.
I would say, I know personally what I do is I'll enter my birth date information. I don't mind doing that. I don't think there's any issue with that, because you're not putting, in addition with that, you're not putting your social security and you're not putting your address on there. So when it asks for the birth date, there's other ways to, I don't know if anyone's seen, if you go on Google and you try to search someone's name, sometimes it'll come up with a website called My Life, and it'll show where the person lives. It's like an address book, and what their age is. So there's other ways online that people can look that up anyhow. Yeah, so I wouldn't be concerned about that, just as long as you're not putting out.
I think it's not considered personally identifiable information, PII, unless it's got your personal information as well as either social security number or I forgot what the other stuff was, but there's articles you can look at personally identifiable information, but just a date of birth shouldn't. It's good to know.
It's just meant to make sure that you're not underage. I mean, the main function of birthdays on social networking is to make sure that you're 18, or that you're 13 in Facebook's case, or whatever it is.
My husband's set up to be 102 or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's that,
a lot of people do that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what Stacy says, right? I mean, it's not PII because, Facebook and all the other social networks will code that information so it's not it's not readable. If you make it public on Facebook when your birthday is, that's on you. You can choose to do that. But on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on any of these other, no one ever sees your birthday. It's really for more behind the scenes for them to ensure that you're of age and that, or really old, or however you put your birthday in. But yeah, it's more to make sure that you can actually use the tool. So.
Okay. You know, I saw someone today, I was looking on Facebook today, I saw someone with their address left out, and it said, just ask me about it. Instead of even putting their address, they just ask me about it.
Yep.
And I thought that was a pretty cool way of averting, they didn't want to put your address in.
They will use your birthday though, so Facebook will use your birthday in target marketing. So tomorrow when I talk about marketing with social media, one of the ways that they do use your information in that way is to make sure that if you enjoy getting those Facebook ads on the right side of your screen, you'll notice how eerily targeted it is to our whatever demographic you happen to fall in. And so that is sort of the downside of giving that information. But when something is free, you give up privacy. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, that's the exchange. The exchange is to use social media because it's free. You're giving up pieces of information that they're going to turn around and make money on. So,
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay. So I wanted to kind of end, and before I show you the video, I wanted to also mention, I'm going to say this at the beginning, but as far as the university, you might be wondering what channels are we on that you can follow us. So just so you know, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Vine, and that should be all of them, but everything except for our Facebook is at Bridge State U, and our Facebook is at Bridgewater State U, just so you know. And to end kind of on a funny note, to bring together social media and to show that it's that you can have fun with it, I wanted to show you, some of you may have seen this, but there was a skit on Jimmy Fallon with him and Justin Timberlake talking about hashtags. So I just wanted to show that. I thought that's a kind of funny way on an end note to bring together. Social media can be fun. It's about conversations. It's about knowing what you should be doing, staying secure, and how to use the different channels. And like I said, I think the best way to really get a sense of what social media is on the different platforms is to just dive in, start your accounts, and really start experimenting with them, because once you are going through and using the technology, you'll get a sense from looking at what other users are doing, best practices, to know how you should be using the technology. So that's my 2 cents on that. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm happy to go through one-on-one. I know we're a little bit, like I said, ahead of schedule, so if anyone wants me to look at their profiles, I'm happy to do that, answer any questions. But I appreciate everyone coming out and listening to the session on building a stronger social media profile. Thank you.
Thank you.